Hello, everyone. You're welcome to the career coaching session hosted by Hamoye. We are an EdTech startup committed to preparing young adults and university students for careers centered around data, tailored to meet the demands of the ever-changing job landscape. By simulating genuine work settings through hands-on internships, we bring together specialized coursework, informative webinars, and hands-on projects. Today's event provides a valuable opportunity to gain a deeper understanding of the professional world as our speaker imparts expertise and lessons from their own journey. My name is Mercy, and my job at Amoye is to make sure you have a good time. I'm joining you from Ibadan, Nigeria, and will be your host for today's session. A heartfelt welcome to everyone, including the outstanding interns of this special Hamoye cohort. Congratulations on your remarkable journey thus far. A special acknowledgement goes to the Hamoye Fellows and our dedicated team for making this session a reality. We are psyched to announce that today we have an Hamoye Fellow with us, Jolomi Tosanwumi. Jolomi, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Jolomi is a Hamoye Fellow and a research assistant at the University of Toronto. He holds a degree in mechanical engineering from the University of Benin in Nigeria. He gained experience as a data scientist at QuickCheck, where he collaborated on developing machine learning models to score loan applications for both QuickCheck's apps and JumiaPay. Jolomi was a data analyst instructor at Utiva, where he taught posts GRS SQL for data analysis. He's also a former data scientist at Turing. Jeremy has a strong passion for working with data and excels in utilizing machine learning to address various organizational challenges. Outside of data science, he is interested in leadership and mentorship. He is currently the president of Black Graduate Students Association at the University of Toronto. And today, he'll be giving us an expert view into this topic, navigating the path to a data science career, tips, tools, and strategies. However, before I hand over to Jolomi, please carefully take note of the following. Every intern should please carefully take note of what I'll be saying right now. Feel free to post your questions and comments on slido.com using the event code hashtag 265563. #2645563, and they will be promptly attended to at the end of the session. We'll be taking questions, so everyone should send their questions to Slido. A Google form will be open just now to collect attendance for the interns. So you'll be using the secret code functions, all lowercase, and the form link will be dropping now. The form will be open for only 10 minutes starting now. We have pinned the first attendance form on YouTube and Zoom, and want you to fill your form quickly in order to focus on the presentation. So it's over to you, Jolomi. Welcome. It's good to have you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mercy. And I think it's a good time to start, right? Yeah, so I will just share my screen and see. Okay, so I need a quick confirmation if you can see my screen. Like,
Yes, we can.
all right. All right, yeah, thank you very much. So today I'll be talking on navigating the path to a data science career. And just a quick uh info about me. So I'm Jolomi Tosanwumi. I'm currently a research assistant at the University of Toronto, and basically I do data science, and I use tools like Python, SQL, R, PySpark, and use it to solve problem in machine learning, deep learning, and natural language processing. I have a data science qualification. So when I back honors in machine learning and statistical analysis from World University. And yeah, of course, I'm also a master's student currently at the University of Toronto. I are in the Department of Mechanical and Industrial Engineering, and my research area is applied machine learning. So I currently, my research is about optimal temporal clustering. So it's a pretty unexplored field in data science. So basically, trying to come up with a new clustering algorithm for time series clustering. So, it's an intractable problem to solve. So during my undergrad, I studied mechanical engineering at the University of Benin in Nigeria. So just a few publications on Medium, F beta score as part one, two, and three, and then using up to vector regression to model time series for time series forecasting. So of course, you can always contact me on LinkedIn. You can check my GitHub profile, and then we can also have some conversation on X. Yeah, so just a quick uh, quote from Tim Nock. He said, hard work would beat talent if talent refused to work hard. So today I'll be introducing the concept of AI, of course, artificial intelligence. Tell us about some of the applications and the distinction between data analytics and data science. I think it's a pretty confused term. And then talk about how to navigate the path to start a career, and I'm going to share my final thoughts as conclusion. So introduction to AI. So like, what is it about? I'm just going to play a video right here. So let me just stop sharing and share my screen to play the video. Um, okay, sound is being shared here. All right, got it.
I am a translator, transforming text into creative discovery. Movement into animation, and direction into action. I am a healer, exploring the building blocks that make us unique. Modeling new threats before they happen. And searching for the cures to keep them at bay. I am a visionary, generating new medical miracles. And giving us a new perspective on our sun to keep us safe here on Earth. I am a navigator, discovering a unique moment in a sea of content.
We're announcing the next generation.
And the perfect setting for any story. I am a creator, building 3D experiences from snapshots and adding new levels of reality to our virtual selves. I am a helper, bringing brainstorms to life. Sharing the wisdom of a million programmers and turning ideas into virtual worlds.
Build a northern forest.
I even helped write the script. Breathed life into the words and composed the melody. AI, brought to life by NVIDIA, deep learning, brilliant minds everywhere.
All right, so that's quick one. So that was a video actually created by some AI agents, of course, which was trained by NVIDIA. So NVIDIA deep minds and of course some brilliant minds. So the all of the video, the narration, the music, everything was created by some artificial intelligence agent that have been trained to create content. So I'll just go back to my video slide. So what's artificial intelligence? So I just want to give a kind of overview of what this topic is and kind of give a clear distinction between data science and data analytics. And then I'm going to talk extensively about career. So I think for the next 15 minutes, I'll just give a very short overview. And then I'm going to discuss and share my story of of how I navigated the path. So artificial intelligence, of course, which is the long for AI, is actually the kind of the sum of the intelligence demonstrated by agents such as digital computer or some controlled robots that basically make them able to perform tasks that are commonly associated with human intelligence, right? And because of the computational speed of computer, when they perform these tasks, they tend to do it very, very fast and sometimes beat human. So uh, and then most times this intelligence is often got it from or from the agent learning from data or from its environment. And then so we know of the hype about AI. If you go everywhere, you see people like talking about AI. So why the hype? Why is it interesting? Why should we care about it? So according to a research by Domo, it says 2.4 trillion bytes of data are generated every day in our contemporary world. And so it just turned out that we now have robust storage capacity, and we also have the ability to learn uh, data from experience. So we have improved over time in terms of our storage capacity, and we have also improved in terms of our computational power. So we have supercomputers that can do kind of complex computation within a short time. We also have powerful storage device. So if we can generate this data and we can store them, so why not train kind of complex models, large language models, just do stuff with it. So and then AI has applications across all field and institutions that basically value data. So, of course, as we all know, data is the oil of the 21st century. It's a very promising technology and it has proven to work. And it's currently ranked in the top five skill to learn in the past 5 years. So anyone can learn data science, anyone can go into AI irrespective of your background in quotes. And yes, it's in high demand and high demand IP. So high demand equals IP. So and I'll just quickly run through us. I know we know some of these things, but just to hear them again, like hearing stuff again kind of give you some kind of empowerment and inspiration. So AI can be applied across many fields, ranging from health to finance. So in health, we can use AI, artificial intelligence agent, to detect cancerous cell and diagnose diseases, especially rare diseases, which and then we can also use it in the financial sector for forecasting and analyzing trends, transportation, self-driving cars, social media recommender system, and basically we can apply AI in every sector that stores data or that has some form of data. So and of course, when I was at QuickCheck, we use AI to score customer loan applications. So basically, when you apply for loan, either through the QuickCheck app or you want to buy something on Jumia or on loan, like we use uh, AI, we use machine learning to kind of score your application and kind of be able to predict if you have the capacity to pay back or not, and able to estimate uh, the risks, like how much we can give to you. And of course, Tesla's self-driving car. I mean, today uh, made history. SpaceX was able to like have their first successful test launch of Starship. Starship is currently like the most powerful and largest rocket in the world, which promised to take human to Mars. So, I mean, SpaceX has been trying over the years to get their first launch. So, even though liftoff was successful this morning and like 1 hour ago, but and even though according to SpaceX, they call it rapid on-schedule disassembly. So it was able to launch this ship to space, but the on re-entry was not successful. So the re-entry was not successful. And then Google's search is also powered by AI. Of course, we know of Chat GPT also. I mean, stuff like this. And then Microsoft, Netflix, NASA, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter. Okay, X, no longer Twitter, Instagram. All of these, they use AI for their recommender system. So simply put, what is data? So data is just a piece of information. Data can be structured. When you say data is structured, it means it is organized in a tabular format. Unstructured data is not in, it cannot easily be represented in tabular format. For example, text, images, and videos. And if you are smart enough, you can basically generate data from anything, right? In this meeting, I can start with generating data. We have people in this meeting, so each person can be an observation. They have different features, their name, their location, where they are from, their age. I mean, just in 1 second, you can start thinking about how you can generate a lot of data from this meeting. So, and then some of the branches of AI. So we have data analytics, data science, and robotics. Just to be clear, there are a lot of definitions out there, but my own definition, like of data analytics and how it differs from data science, is that data analytics just basically involves using data to answer business questions. So, and these questions are to be answered to the end that the data analyst should be able to give data-driven recommendations. And it basically involves data description, diagnosis, and prescription. So description, you just doing some kind of summary statistics, some visualization. Then diagnosing, you are trying to find out what is wrong. Maybe trends are not going as expected, so you want to find some kind of causal um, variables and stuff like that. Then prescription, you want to be able to give recommendations. So you run experiments and then you give some kind of prescription. So I mean, these are the three dimensions I have seen that are associated with data analytics. And of course, you use tools like Excel, SPSS, Google Sheets, data, and SAS for it. And for the visualization, you use Power BI, Tableau. To interact with database, you use SQL. And I'm going through this foundation because I know there are also some people joining in who are also just enthusiasts about data science. They just want to have an overview. So this is just a quick rush. Then statistics and probability. But then, according to me, like data science encompasses data analytics. So data analytics is just a subset of the old data science field. So I can say data science is data analytics plus predictive analysis. Data analytics just have descriptive, diagnostic, and prescriptive. Then data science includes these three and then added predictive analysis. So when you want to start doing something like prediction, then you start to use, then you are really going deep into data science, right? So data analysis is like a subset of it, but the predictive part is so broad that most people tend to classify it on its own. So people just sometimes call it data science, like standalone. But I have come to understand that even before you get to start doing predictive analysis, you most likely find yourself starting from the descriptive diagnosis, which is more like doing data analytics. So for that, I think it's kind of a subset of data science. And talking about the predictive part, then we start using algorithms that can be classified into machine learning algorithm and deep learning algorithm. So deep learning algorithm is just basically those type of algorithms that uses neural network architecture and stuff like that. So I mean, people have their different definitions. It's a pretty new field. People trying to define things, but This is the best I can come with right now. Yeah, some of the tools you use for data science, of course, especially for the predictive parts, use tools like Python, R, and their corresponding machine learning libraries. For the deep learning parts, use the TensorFlow, Keras, PyTorch, OpenCV, and stuff like that. And of course, you've got to do version controlling with Git and cloud computing with AWS and the other cloud platform. And importantly, background of statistics, or you should be comfortable with basic statistics, probability calculus, matrix algebra, and vectors. All right, so that is just a very quick overview of the whole concept of AI, artificial intelligence, data science, and what I think the difference between data science and data analytics is. So now I'm going to talk about how to navigate the path and basically share my story before and after the Hamoye internship. So I did the Hamoye internship in year 2020. That was immediately after my NYSC. So I had just finished NYC and I saw like this advert on LinkedIn. So of course the truth be told, like I kind of applied initially thinking that it was an internship that would be paid. I think money was part of my motivation, but along the line I have to like learn a lot of things and relearn a lot of new things that I'm really, really grateful that I changed my mindset over the years and so those are the things I'm going to talk about. Basically, what I did and what I didn't do. So before and after the internship, and I'm going to talk about 9 things today. Then you can ask questions. So because I don't just want it to look like just mere motivation. So when I talk about these things, I'm going to share my experience. I think this will be the first time I'm ever doing this in my life online like this, like sharing a lot about myself. Right. So I think it's very important that when people hear these things, one when they also see results makes motivation to be easy and it makes inspiration to be easy. So what I did and what I didn't do, because I did a lot of projects, did projects. I can't overemphasize that a lot. I'm going to talk about all of these one after the other. And then I didn't give any excuse for any reason. Then I did a lot of rigorous study, time management, and then I began to learn that salary was not my main motivation. Then I wrote articles, blog, papers, etc. I didn't depend on certificates, plural, whatever certificate. Then I did a lot of networking and LinkedIn optimization, and then I tried my best to stand out from the crowd. So I will just go to the first one. So doing projects, like I've come to understand like across the years that employers out there, they are basically, whether you will like it or not, their main goal is to make profits. And when you want to make profits, you need to get resources. So whether some hardware, softwares, and human resources, and whatever you get in, you want quality. So most times, when you want to buy some hardware, or even when you want to use some software, if you want to be honest with yourself, most times you want to make sure that that way you are buying or that hardware or software is capable of doing the task for which you're buying it for. So I think that's same idea applies to human, right? When you want to acquire human resources, you want to be sure as an employer, right? I think most times, if we want to be fair to ourselves, we need to put ourselves in the shoes of the employer most times, right? Because you are basically getting something to maximize profit. That's the objective, right? So, and then you want to be sure, and then you don't know this person is here sitting before you in an interview. So, I mean, a lot of skepticism, and it's very important that we that are on the other end as potential employees, we try our best to uh, back our claim, right? Our claim of our skills by having something to show, right? So when you want to buy some hardware, you want to see or know what that hardware is capable of doing. What has it been used to do before. Okay, I want to buy this phone. What are the abilities of this phone? Can it make a call? What is the image quality and stuff like that, right? So projects are a nice way to display your abilities or what you've done in the past and what you are capable of doing to your employers. And it's very, very important, right? And this is one of the first, basically, all the interviews I have attended, whether to get a job in a company or to get my master's research admission, all of them, the one thing that is common to all my employers during my interview was that at one point in the interview, they all asked me to walk them through my GitHub repository. I mean, the technical interviewers, they really had the time to go through my code to see how I wrote my code and stuff like that. So projects is kind of the heartbeat of um it's one of the best way you can display your abilities to people. And projects should not most times be people don't actually wait to do one big and mighty project like you are the one that uh, uh created transformer models for the first time. No, I mean it could. I always advise people that your project should have some components present. Number one is that you should have um, some project that you did alone, like completely alone, and you should also have some set of project that you did as part of a team. Right? I have some interviewers asking me for project that I did alone or by myself, and project that I did as being part of a team because they want to also kind of have an idea of how you can be proactive and do things on your own, and also how you can work as part of the team. So I think it's very, very important we have this component of projects in our list of projects on our portfolio. And then in terms of getting your hands dirty in the skills, right? For example, you are learning Python, right? Basic Python. I always advise people after learning every new thing, make sure you do something with it, right? So if you learn Java, for example, at the end of the Java course, I mean, irrespective of the project you were given during the course, also try to come up with your own or project like a problem. You say a problem, you want to solve it using Java. So, or you want to solve it using Python. You will then discover that it is in the process of trying to solve that problem, you would realize that wow, there are a lot of things you thought you knew about Python that you didn't know. Because now you want to implement something, then you start running into errors, so you can't even start. You don't even know where to start from. So I think projects kind of give you an avenue to stand before a complex problem, break it down into chunks, translate it into codes, and get your results, right? And for data science, I advise your project to also cut across not just data science, even algorithms and data structure, right? For example, this animation showing on the screen, this was some stuff I did with Python, right? This first one here is basically the famous Tower of Hanoi problem. So the goal is to move um, all four of these disks from this pool, this first pool to this third pool, stacking them in ascending order of their size. And there are some rules to the game, right? You can't stack a bigger disk on top of a smaller disk at any point in time. You have this middle pool as the intermediate pool, and you move one disk at a time. So this is a kind of recursive problem with a very high complexity of order 2 is power n. So just think about something like this. Okay, let me do this with Python. I just finished learning Python, right? So I mean, this was coded with Python. The animation was created with matplotlib, as simple as matplotlib, and it was a nice time for me to master my object-oriented programming. Did it some time ago, but as simple as it looked, it kind of gave employers the impression that wow, this person have the ability to break complex problem into chunks, right? And then solve it. Similarly, this one on the right was also what I did with Python, basically to prove that a parabolic reflector is the shape that would converge parallel rays of light to a single point only, which is the focus. That if you use a semicircle, you are not going to get that kind of perfect convergence. Like, I mean, what was the inspiration in doing this simple thing was just from the Olympics, right? Watching Olympics, the Olympic torch was lit for the first time using a parabolic reflector to converge rays of light from the sun. So they just put a torch at the focus of the reflector while they focus it on the sun. And then the torch will be lit with fire, and then that fire will be transferred across the country to the final uh, stadium throughout, and that fire will keep burning throughout the Olympic game. I mean, while you're watching Olympics, like while you are living your life as a data scientist, it is very important that you try to create problems for yourself, right? So, and I think that is one of the attitude and mindset that I think is very, very important for you to be successful in your career. There's a famous quote that engineers are problem solvers. If there are no problems readily available, they will create problems for themselves. Just, I mean, and I think that that's one attitude and stuff I think we should really have. And of course, a lot of data science projects I did, even at Hamoye, I was a project leader. All the projects I participated in, ranging from using LSTM and CNN to um, to predict the variety of wine, credit fraud detection, and Bitcoin for forecasting. And basically, at the time of my interview, especially for my master's research admission, and even for my jobs, like these were the project I talked about, nothing more, nothing less. Basically, the project I did while I was at Hamoye, because I just finished learning Python, and of course, I've ever done any like main data science project. And here was high before interviewers. They wanted to see what I've done in the past. I mean, so I walked them through the stuff I did at Hamoye, and of course I was able to explain and give them context and stuff like that. So I think project, do it, and never stop doing it. So there's a saying that when you learn something for the first time, it is stored in your short-term memory. For you to translate your knowledge to the long-term memory, you got to do something with your hands. It is in the doing that things get to be stuck in your memory for long term, right? So I think it's very, very important that we prioritize doing projects in our data science career, especially for entry level. So I can't overemphasize that enough. So that's just the first one, do projects. So again, I'm going to talk about the second one, which is no excuse. I got to a point, this was especially before my Hamoye internship, where there were a lot of limitations to me learning data science, right? I mean, a lot. For example, during my when I graduated, just the year when I was about to graduate from my university during my undergrad, my laptop was stolen. So basically, I didn't have any laptop after school. My phone was also stolen. I think that was during my NYSC. I was able to get a very small phone. So basically, I wanted to go into data science, but I didn't have a laptop. So I didn't have to say, okay, that's an excuse. And I was posted to a very remote village in Nigeria where the internet connection was very poor, electricity supply is very low. But again, that was not an excuse for me. Like, take opportunities. Don't wait till everything is in place before you start learning things, right? So basically, in the in the remote village of Ikot Anya, local government in Akwa Ibom State, where where I was with my phone. I basically started learning coding with my phone. Like basically, I didn't have to wait for a laptop, right? I learned Python, I learned SQL, I learned JavaScript, HTML, C++ with my phone, and of course, like so, showing you these results to see that okay, are something, these are the things that I did, and these are the results I'm getting. So like that is just what I am here to do. So this is my phone, as you can see, 3 years ago when I was like, of course, I just finished learning HTML, CSS, and JavaScript on there's this app called Solo Learn back then. I think this still exists, right? You can basically learn stuff with your phone. Even though it may not be like 100%, like the quality of the course may not be as video course, right? Like course that are video based, but it shouldn't be an excuse. Of course, I'm in a remote place. I don't have strong internet connection. Okay, I can't stream a lot of data to watch videos for a course, okay, I'm going to make use of what I have to get what I want, right? Just learn it, whatever they're teaching you there, get the knowledge. I think I'm getting myself. Maybe someone may want to meet their mind. Yeah, get the knowledge and get it for yourself. When you get it, you cannot lose it. So yeah, these are my HTML and CSS code I did with my phone for like 2 months just to build a simple scientific calculator. And here was the output, right? So just doing things like this, even in the face of limitations, I think is very, very good and very, very helpful for your data science career. And again, so for that app, as out of 20, was it 2020, right? They didn't have, of course, the app was used to learn data science and coding on your phone. Not data science, sorry, was used to learn coding on your phone, like different programming languages. But then they didn't have like a code a code editor on the app for SQL. They only have for Python, so I could practice Python with my phone and even Java and JavaScript. But SQL didn't have. But that was still not an excuse, right? I had to. What they had for SQL was just simply the explanation of all the different syntax of SQL and the different ways you can query from your database. I used my notebook to write everything. I was basically learning SQL without writing SQL code, right? And in fact, to be sincere, like since after my NYC, all the job I've gotten and all the money I have been paid were actually largely from those jobs that were heavy on SQL, like heavy on SQL. Like this, in fact, I taught SQL at Utiva and for like, but this was me, this was my notebook, this is the proof, like this is everything. There should be no excuse. Like make use of what you have to get what you want, basically. Again, there's a popular saying that the impossible is only an invitation to disrupt the status quo. Now, I'm going to talk about next tips I'm going to give you is rigorous. Be rigorous as much as you can, and I cannot overemphasize it. And to be rigorous, it needs you to be disciplined, right? I know we hear that data science is in high demand, right? So employers are looking for people that can do this. But the truth is that the people employers are actually looking for are in this category. So this is the popular S curve of learning. So when you start learning in time, your growth is at the initial stage, your growth is very, very slow. You are learning, time is moving, but what you are learning at that point in time, there are a lot of new things, and most times you're asking yourself, like, how can I use if and else statements to do something big like ChatGPT? So at that point in time, there are a lot of questions going through your mind. Why am I learning all of this? What is all this if else statements? Like, those complaints we used to complain, like for loop, how is this going to solve problem? And most times you are learning something new. It's very, very difficult to pass through this first stage, which is a launching point. In fact, this is the point where many people give up. Few people ever cross this point. At this point, and because money is a motivation, most people at this point they have started applying for a lot of jobs. They are expecting themselves to be employed, like because maybe they know how to use Python and data science. But the truth is that the high demand that people talk about in data science are actually for people in this category, mastery. So when we say it's in high demand, is the oil of the 21st century? These are the people they are looking for. These are the people that are in high demand, right? Unfortunately, these people are not in high demand. I don't think any company needs people in high demand. People generally look for high demand here. So once you can migrate yourself to this point, then you see that it is very, very easy to be part of this thing we are talking about. And it's a migration process. You need to understand and tell yourself the truth that this thing is going to take time. I mean, I've had a lot of people come to me that, oh, I can learn all of this in 3 months or in 2 months. Give me 7 steps to know data science, machine learning, deep learning, all of this stuff in 7 months, in 3 months. I tell them, unfortunately, I don't know of any way you can learn all of those in 3 months, but I know of one way you can learn it in 1 year, right? I will tell you the truth. It's not something you can just already learn. you have to admit that it takes time, and you should be willing to pay that price and discipline yourself to learn it step by step, taking baby steps. You cannot jump the process. And if you can beat these leadership points, like just migrate to this leadership point, you will see that at that point in time, your growth will be very, very fast, right? Within a short time, because now you've understood the concept of programming, you've understood the concept of object-oriented programming, you've understood the concept of functions. So when you're learning something new, like a new programming language, you see that you are assimilating very fast. Your growth is basically very fast, right? And then you grow very fast. Even from this point, of course, you would still be rejected. Like the truth is, I tell people expect, like don't lie to yourself. You'll be rejected a lot. Like I was rejected a lot of the time, right? And I don't blame them, of course. I mean, I just have to keep working on myself. But at this point, you can be lucky to be like to get a job, to be employed, and then you still keep growing in the job, right? Until you get to. So this should be your goal mastery. Know that there's a path to take. And in navigating that path, it requires you being rigorous and disciplined. I think to talk about being rigorous, I think it's very important. Like I tell people when you're learning data science, there are a lot of machine learning algorithm out there. It's beyond model.fit and model.predict. I tell people make sure you go deep, like underneath the hood. For example, ADOS is simple logistic regression works, right? Like implement it from scratch using only NumPy. Like go rigorous. Don't just learn surface learning. Like I mean, it's a it's a bitter truth, but it is one of the act to actually stand out from the crowd, right? Again, there are a lot of people out there with data science skills and all, but most times for you to really ace a lot of interviews, especially technical interviews, it's very important that your knowledge is really, really grounded. You don't just know Python or how to code, you know the mathematics right behind data science. And please don't remove the science from data science. It is data science, it is mathematics. You're actually coding those stuff, all of those logistic regression, those stuff you do in random forest and neural network, all those are matrix algebras. Like you need to understand matrix algebra, be rigorous. What is the geometric interpretation of matrix multiplication? Not just knowing how to do matrix multiplication. Like what are you actually doing when you use a matrix to multiply a vector? Right, having the geometric interpretation that you're actually transforming this vector and stuff like that. And then having it in your project as one of your projects, right? Like implementing things from scratch, for example, neural network. And these are the things when I was doing my interview to get my research admission here at U of T. I mean, these were the things that the prof was basically asking me on. In fact, he assessed me. One of my first assessments was to implement a neural network from scratch using only NumPy. Like because I mean, you want to do research, and yeah, we work on new things like novel things. You do things from the scratch. So I think it's very, very important. Even in your understanding of the concept, especially if you say, okay, well, I want to go to the industry, I don't want to do research, I don't need to go rigorous and go underneath the hood. Like, unfortunately, when you're doing technical interviews, they will ask a lot of questions. And believe me, the people that will be interviewing you are people that know this thing to the roots, like, and then they'll be asking you questions, and then from your answer, you can tell if this person really know what you're saying. So I think even in getting high paid jobs and high quality jobs, it's actually important that you know things to the roots. And I will advise you to do that. Please don't just be a surface learner. Try to get in there, go into the ocean, right? Push yourself in, and then you'll be able to stand out from the crowd. Then time management. I mean, there's a popular uh, 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 time management decision matrix. I think it was proposed by one time, I think it was US 35th president. So where he puts things under these four boxes. Yeah, things that are urgent, not urgent, things that are important and not important, right? So for things that are urgent and important, you do them right now. For things that are important but not urgent, you decide and you reschedule them, right? And then things that are not important but they are urgent, you delegate them to other people to do it for you. things that are not important are not urgent. You don't need to spend time with them. And especially if you are in this launching point, right? This is the point where you want to take time management very, very seriously, right? I know people talk about the truth is that the people will look up to who are already in this mastery zone where they can comfortably get out from their bed and solve a lot of problems within a short time, so much so that they will have lots of time to do other things, right? It's like you, I mean, the amount of time they have to do other things. When I say other things, I mean other things apart from this whole learning stuff, right? It's more than the time you have. So you need. Plato said, "Man, know thyself." So I think this is the point where you want to take time management very, very seriously because this is a function of time. So you want to be able to manage as you find yourself in this leadership point for years, and I don't think it's a good point to be. So you need to manage your time, prioritize learning when you're launching points, right? And then I don't know if you could see this very well. Like, I mean, again, like I said, I said I'll be showing you most of these things I did, right? So this is, of course, solo learning. This I checked this. Of course, I've not used the app since I think that was 1 year I used it. So I did like a total of about 2,000 coding challenges ranging from Python to JavaScript in 1 year, right? Of those 2,000, of course, I won 916 of them. I drew 644 of them. I lost 214 of them. So the coding challenge, like even at your leisure time, even when you want to sleep, right? Think about these things. And I think it's a nice way to learn, right? Is I don't think it is profitable if you just learn something now and then after the end of the course, you don't find yourself going back to it in any way. When I mean in any way, whether in doing a project with it or in even thinking about it, like you just go and live the rest of your life. Believe me, or not, that thing is going to leave you for the next 3 months, right? If you leave these things for one day, they may leave you for 3 months, right? So spend time, even at your so-called leisure time, when you're about to take a sleep, or you just finish watching a movie, you can just, even though just code this challenge, or just think of, okay, how does the logistic regression works again? Okay, basically the goal is to look for an hyperplane that best separate the classes, right? To look at the best decision boundary that minimize the cross entropy loss. And what is the cross entropy loss? Okay, it is this and that. Like just tell yourself those things, like think about them, let them be part of you. That is how you took yourself inside this. And it is part of time management, right? So when you begin to do this and begin to see results, passion will be better. I know most times we don't have passion for this thing at the initial stage. Most times, many people come to data science. Of course, it's the truth and it's a valid reason to also come to data science because of the money, right? So money can be your initial motivation, but you may not have passion for it initially. But I beg you, if you really want to go far in this field, make sure that you get to a point where it becomes your passion. Many people that are great today, if you ask them and if they want to be honest with you, what they are doing right now was not their passion initially when they started life. Even me, that I'm here, I mean, initially I wanted to become a medical doctor, but yeah, I am. I've developed passion for this thing so much, right? Because I soak myself into it and I'm seeing the results, and then I'm happy. So I think that is it. So next, I want to talk about salaries. Like I think this is a very controversial topic, and I think it must be talked about at the initial stage, or at especially when you want to break into the industry in your when you're looking for entry level roles. The truth is that most times we tend to overestimate and over rank ourselves. Like this is the popular Dunning-Kruger effect, where at initially those people that their skill are still moderate, they tend to be overconfident, right? They tend to dwell in this mountain of stupidity, which is multi stupid. So you see people make it statement like, "Oh, okay, I just finished the Hamoye internship and of course I'm good. I've done this and that and I can't accept any job that is less than 200K, this and that." I think you like I really need to learn. I learned about this especially in my early stage because that when you are in the launch point, please, I think it is best to make salary not to be your number one motivation and drive. the focus at your launching point is getting these keys, because like I said, there are a lot of people out there that are very good at this thing, right? So why on earth do you think that the employers will just say like either they employ you or they die? No, I mean they have people out there who can do these things. I mean, even sometimes way more better. And then you need to tell yourself the truth and don't over like, yeah. So make sure you keep the emphasis should be in this direction. As you grow in knowledge and in skills, and leave the mountain of stupidity, you will come to the valley of despair where you will be rejected most of the time after you brag about the salary and nobody's willing to give you that offer. You then come low to the valley of despair. And then if you keep improving your knowledge and skill, you will see that you are going to get to that place of enlightenment where indeed uh, salary will just be coming to you. So I advise people at the initial point, salary should not be your number one motivation. Because I mean, I did that. There were a lot of jobs I took. My emphasis was to grow, right? Was to grow at the initial stage. Because I noticed that employers, they the rate of my acceptance increased drastically after my first job. But before my first job, my rejection rate was very high because many people were like, okay, you've learned data science, but you've not done something, like you've not like been employed before, right? So why can I pay you this? Like if I one of them was saying that, yeah. And I have to accept it and I said, okay, yeah, I'm willing, I'm willing to learn. And one thing I would advise people again is that even though in their job description they list a lot of skills and you have like 70% of the skills, right? Apply for it. And when the interviewer was telling me that, okay, yeah, we use Metabase for our SQL, and I've never used Metabase before. And I told him, yes, I've never used it, but I'm willing to learn it, and I believe I can do it. I don't just say, oh, I don't know it, and you disqualify yourself. No, no, no. Have this attitude to want to learn. I've worked in a company before where, of course, I learned Python, but we got a point in the work where we have to use R. I have to learn R within 1 week and apply it and solve the problem. Like having this attitude, don't be and like be a true agnostic. Don't be give me Python or I die. Like be flexible to apply new skills. It is going to create more opportunities for you, right? I think it's a very, very important point. And when people start seeing variety of skills in your resume and your GitHub and stuff like that, they will be the one willing to pay you for that, right? Again, my first salary was very low. But after my first job, I discovered, in fact, before I got my first job, a lot of rejections. Like you cannot imagine it. But somehow I got the first job. And after that, I discovered that when I applied for jobs, I saw the acceptance rate was very high. And it got to a point like, especially last year, 2022, a total of 7 companies reached out to me. Like they were the ones like reaching out to me because they know these things, like they know what they are looking for, right? Again, the demand is for those in mastery. The demand is high for those in mastery. Like last year, a company from the US reached out to me, companies from Nigeria, most of them trying to push me away from quick check, even with higher salaries and stuff like that. So all these are the things uh that I think is very, very important we incorporate into our journey, right? Yeah, the money you are looking for would come and it will come really, really big, like big salary, but the time in which it should come, you got to be truthful with yourself that be honest with yourself that you need to grow and get to that point where this kind of stuff will come. Yeah. Then write blogs and articles. I think this is a very interesting way to prove your skill and to prove your knowledge of certain things, right? It's one thing to know how to use scikit-learn, right, for something. And there is another thing to know how to implement it from scratch. Right, of course, you can implement it from scratch and you write your code. And it's another thing to write a blog or an article explaining yourself because code can be okay. You may even copy the code. I mean, and I advise people to, especially in the launching point, minimize the use of GPT and all of these assist, right? Because I'm sorry, I'm someone that is very is bent on discipline and rigorosity and making sure you know what you are doing. It's like the goal should be you know what you are doing. And I think ChatGPT will not, if you're in the launching point, especially, ChatGPT is very good. Believe me, you, especially for people that are not into this field of coding. I mean, a CEO can just, or someone that is in business can just write a simple Python code with GPT to solve problem. But for you, like I think you are supposed to be the one that is a, a owner of this knowledge, right? So you need to have this knowledge for yourself also because most companies, I don't think most companies will want you to use it, especially if they employ you as a data scientist and then you're using Chat GPT. Like, why should I mean they will like we should go have employ Chat GPT instead, right? It's a different thing if it's people in the administration department that are making use of it. Okay, those one we know that it is not what they do. So this is just a tool to assist them. But for you, and again for privacy reasons, many companies don't want you to use it. In fact, there are a lot of rules. You may get sacked if you do that at all because your data companies' information may be leaked and stuff like that. And even in school, I mean, even here where I school, most of my assignment and project is basically things from the scratch, right? We solve gradient boosting trees with our hands from the scratch. In fact, you are doing machine learning courses, but your exam is biro and paper, okay? Because they don't want chat GPT. They want to be sure you know what you're doing. And I think it's very, very important. Why not be part of those building the future chat GPT rather than just be the audience? So use it when you are sure that you have got it to that mastery point, right? And then you are just using it at that point in time just to speed up things or co-pilot. But most times I would, when you're in the launching point, I would really emphasize on doing it yourself. So this was a blog I wrote when I was in Hamoye. That was in 2020. You can see I wrote it. It's titled F Better Score in Keras. And it still boils down to the problem or to the point of no excuse. So during the internship, I think we were working on this project that has to do with using like classifying Amazon's classifying satellite image sheets on the Amazon of forest. So of course, we retrained some pre-trained neural network like BGG and AlexNet and ResNet to kind of predict and kind of classify those images. And it got to a point like the project, the evaluation metric was F1 score, right? And I wanted to optimize the F1 score. I wanted to make sure my model or use F1 score as the validation metric. But unfortunately, I discovered that F1 score was not implemented in Keras. So there was no way I could like monitor the F1 score as the model was training, like on the validation set. So, and someone asked me in Hamoye, like, do you know how to do these things? I said, no. Wow. Okay. I didn't just give up. That was a motivation for me to start to implement it using TensorFlow from scratch. Okay. I said, okay, let me implement if I'm not just F1 score, F beta score in general. And that made me to read about it from the scratch, understood, okay, this F1 score is just a subject of the is just a subset of the F measures, and I implemented it in Keras, and I wrote an article about it. I mean, back then, people like Mr. Wale and Charles, they were telling us to write articles. So I wrote my article, and currently it has 17.2 thousand views and reads. And in fact, it's one of the things my professor spoke about that what he really loved my those stuff that I did, right? Most of my employers they went through this thing and they have gotten a lot of comments from this blog I wrote that day on F1 score. Like I implemented it and even so much so that someone from NASA and someone that works in Pentagon reached out to me last year that why he saw my article and he saw that what I'm in Africa and was so impressed that someone from Africa could do this thing. And that guy connected with me and he paid my flights, right? He was just like, just ask me anything you want and stuff like that. Even if, when I'm here, he buys winter jackets for me and stuff like that. Just from this singular act of wanting to solve problem, of not giving excuse that, oh, F1 square is not a checkers, oh, which can, let me just do something else. No. Again, the impossible is an invitation to solve the status quo, right? So I think it's very, very important that we do stuff like this. Then, yeah, I want to talk about don't depend on certificates only. Like this is one thing that really helped me a lot. There are a lot of platform I learned from, like a lot of them that I do have certificates from, and I didn't really care. And thank God I didn't care and limit myself and say, okay, because I don't have money to pay to get a certificate, oh, I'm not going to learn this thing. No, the and in all the interviews I've attended, especially for the industry, there's no single one of them that have asked for my certificate or a certificate of any form, whether my BSc certificate or certificate that I have learned Python. No. But one thing they did ask for is my GitHub. They wanted to see my skill, like they wanted to see what I've done. Because I think we need to understand that we are in tech and we are different from those in like non-tech. I think non-tech people, they are heavy on certificates, right? Uh, ICANN and stuff like that. I mean, but in tech, it is just like a mechanic. Like it is based on what you can use your hands to do. Like it is something we do with our hands. So that is what they want to see. Right? If you are showing them a paper that you know data science, they will appreciate it fine. But every one of them would make sure you get to that point of technical interview where they will want to back what you claim to have known. And don't be offended when people want to vet your skill. Right? I mean, it's like my prof was telling me that, oh, that every week he interviews an average of 10 people, right, every weekend. And most times, certificate doesn't impress him. Like, he has seen a lot of people that graduated with 5.0, like, there are a lot all over the world, right? So, how does he differentiate them? So, it is about the skills. So, that's why he's having or assessing, like, giving you this stuff to do, right? And I think it's very, very important. Don't limit yourself. There's no one, maybe apart from my application to UFC that they asked for my certificate just to show, it was even after this stuff, like just to show that, okay, you graduated and what you said you graduated with actually is. But throughout the assessment process, everything, all my jobs, everything was my skills. Skills matter very much. So please go for skill, go for skill, and go for skill. Know the world you are in. You are in tech world. You are not in non-tech world. And tech world, skills is what people is looking for. Like people are looking for skills, not certificate. Get certificates. They are very important. Like especially when it comes to remuneration, right, and stuff like that. Yeah, skills, certificate, and your years of experience. Those are the two factors that they normally take into account for your salary. But in terms of getting into the job in the first place, nobody will ask you for certificate. Believe me, that or few people would ask. Most times is your skill. Your skill matter a lot that you can ever imagine. So please go for skill and go for knowledge. Second to last, I believe, I'm wrapping up nice LinkedIn optimization. I tell people all the job I've gotten are from LinkedIn, right? And try to contribute, right? Take LinkedIn machine learning assessments, right? And put it on your LinkedIn profile, right? Take advantage of LinkedIn. What do they call it? So they currently have this community notes and blog they're writing on machine learning contributes to the article, right? I mean, last week I got a verification badge from LinkedIn because of my contributions, I believe. So I think it's very, very important that we take LinkedIn seriously. As simple as the app may look, it can really open doors for you. And I advise people when applying for a job, make sure you apply early because especially in my entry level point, I discovered that those times I was getting rejection were mostly for jobs that I applied late. LinkedIn will tell you most time once you see like 200 plus, but most times set LinkedIn job alert so that you get alert as a job opportunity is opened and then apply immediately. And I discovered that those ones that I was among the first 50 people to apply for, at least I would get a response. Either them taking me to the next stage, maybe I didn't pass the next stage, but I will shall get a response. But those ones that I applied from 200 plus applications, I discovered that I hardly get any good feedback from those ones. So please, if you really want to break in, make sure you optimize LinkedIn as much as you can. Set job alerts for data science jobs in Nigeria, in whatever part of the world you want to work in. And as you get the alerts, make sure you go to LinkedIn. There's how you can put the filter to search for jobs that were posted in the last 24 hours and apply for it. Last 3 days, apply for it. And I think all of these are very, very important. Then make sure you stand out. I mean, in all of these things I've talked about, right? I mean, when of course, this is just an in conversation. The email I sent to my supervisor to be a research student. You see, and I got a response in less than 24 hours. So I sent it 27 minutes past 8 on October 19th, and he replied that night as we entered October 20th, which is like less than 24 hours. He got a like response. He went through my article, but I put the link in my email. I put the link to my GitHub. He went through everything, and he was like impressed, right? He didn't even ask about certificate at that point in time or transcript. What caught his attention? And these people receive a lot of mails every day, and they like he told me like when I came here, we were on a dinner. He was just telling me like what really attracted me to him. Even I made some like typo in my mail, but then like skills are very like I can't just emphasize on skills, even with the typo and everything. What is looking for is skills, and you can see the response and everything. So I think is very, very important. So much so that he even told me at a point that another professor that I didn't send an email, some application, he was also interested in me. Okay, so I think it's very important that you stand that. I really don't like being part of the crowd. That's why I like most of the things I've listed here. Most of the things that the crowd do not like. So if the crowd do not like certain things, like they don't like that the father, oh, how can you say that salary should not be my main motivation for entry level job? How can you say I should just be implementing things from scratch? Unfortunately, that is why they are part of the crowd. If you really want to stand out from the crowd, you got to be the one that is doing things differently, right? If everybody is doing one thing, that's why they are part of everybody. But to stand out, you need to be the one that go the extra mile. If everybody is complaining about, uh, it is not by implementing things from scratch, I think that's why they are part of the crowd. If everybody's complaining about it is not by this and that, make sure, like, listen to what they are saying. They actually give you hints on how you cannot be part of them. So listen to what they are saying and make sure you are doing those things that they don't like. I think you're going to stand out and be part of the crowd. So I always advise you to take advantage of the Hamoye internship. It is a very, very important way to showcase your skills. And I've never regretted doing, like I tell you, even my Hamoye internship my year project was what I showed my professor during my interview. Of course, I didn't have any project. Okay, I have worked before them, but I couldn't show them my company work because of non-disclosure agreement. But these are open source projects that you can show anybody. So please do it very well, and you will never regret it. So I think I'll just stop and end with this note. The difference between a master and a beginner is that the master has failed more times than the beginner has even tried. It's according to Mel Robbins. So make sure you try, fail, fail many times, and learn from your mistakes. Yeah, thank you very much. You can again meet me on LinkedIn, you can follow me on GitHub, and we can also have conversation on X. So thank you. Yeah.
Hello. Yeah, thank you, Jolomi. That was a very nice one from you. We really want to thank you for the enlightening session. Your insights have been super helpful, and I am sure everyone here, including me, has learned a lot from what you've shared. Okay, before our speaker takes some of your questions, please note that the second attendance form will be dropping now, and the secret code is branding, all lowercase. Again, the second attendance form will be dropping now, and the secret code is branding, all lowercase. Remember, the form will close 10 minutes from now, so check the YouTube and Zoom for the new form. And now to our questions. Remember to post your questions and comment on slido.com using the event code #2645563. Again, We'll be taking some questions. Remember to post your questions on and comment on slido.com using the event code #2645563, and they will be promptly attended to. Okay, so Jolo, we have a question here for you from Emmanuel. So he's asking, could you please provide more details about the method you mentioned for learning data science in 1 year?
Okay, yeah, like I usually have this like I don't know, it's very difficult to share. Maybe I will share this Hamoye, like it's kind of a breakdown, my own recommended timeline, right? So normally I tell people to start from learning statistics, probability, mathematics, calculus, matrix, algebra. Like just took yourself in those things, right? Make sure you understand it. I'm not an advocate of just learning things to cram. Like make sure you understand. Watch YouTube videos. There are a lot of YouTube channels that I follow. We have people like StartQuest. We have people like okay, StartQuest is by George or Stoma and or like these people they explain really well. People like Chili Brand One Blue, like they explain really well to like so that you get the intuition and concept. So after you've done those basic maths, like you've refresh your memory on basic math, then you can. This is my own recommendation. It's not the one fit for everyone. So, and especially for beginner, then I would then recommend you start learning tools like Excel, so you can understand the concept of structured data. You work with tabular data, how to do basic functions. And then after Excel, I normally recommend that you learn SQL, which is a very easy to learn declarative language to query from database. And then after that, because SQL is really, I think it's a skill that is really not emphasized enough because all companies I've worked for, like it's company for God's sake, so they have a database and to communicate with a database. SQL is a standard language. So I think even before you start building models, you need to query your data from there. Especially if the company does like if the team is not that big that they have a separate team that will do that for you. Right. At Quick Check, I wrote a lot of SQL before I even started building models. At Turing, I wrote a lot of SQL and stuff like that. So I think learning SQL is very, very important. And then after those two, I then recommend people to start going to visualization tools like Power BI and Tableau. And I think with these three tools, do projects on them, and then you can say you have done with the aspect of data analytics, and you can start applying for data analytics job. But if you want to go to data science, you can then take it further to start learning Python, and then start learning machine learning and deep learning, and of course, virtual controlling system like Git and start in all of these. As you finish learning one of them, make sure you do projects and then projects, plural, add them to your GitHub. And the timeline, like I have a timeline allocated to a recommended timeline. I think I can send it to Hamoye after now so that they can broadcast it to everyone. But if for send it on Slack, I believe there's a Slack channel. Yeah.
Okay, thank you for that. We have another one from YouTube. How did you go about securing research assistant position in AI-related aspects of mechanical engineering? How did
Yeah.
you go
So
about? Okay.
yeah, so it started with, of course, the decision was from high level. Like I started with the country I want to study, then the school I want to study, then of course what I want to study, which is machine learning, AI. That's what I want to do. And I know that it is a field that is currently present in most other fields. So I I went to the mechanical and it is actually called mechanical and industrial engineering department. So I went to their website of the school I wanted to go and looked at the list of faculties which had their professors. So for each professor, I went through the list of the professors and those ones that are into machine learning, of course, took down their names. You would see their previous work, like their previous paper they've written, you will see it there. Or if you don't see it, just grab their name and search it on Google Scholar to go through some of their papers. And then you can start composing your email is actually a cold email. Even before you apply, I recommend you send an email to a professor first. You got to secure a professor that is willing to be your supervisor. So after sending an email, if you are lucky enough, you will get a lot of rejection. I think don't feel bad when you get it. So you know it's part of the process most time. Maybe I was just lucky to get a reply in less than 24 hours, and for me, it was just everything breeze and all. But when you send an email, make sure your email is concise, straight to the point, hit the nail at the head, talk about what you are for. You want a funded, in fact, make sure you capitalize funded so that it won't think that you have your own funding and you just want him to be a supervisor. So talk about your skill, talk about the professor. I think this is one of the things my professor told me that he liked about my application, right? That many people just talk about themselves. Okay, I can do this and that is all. Fine, fine, fine. But you want to work with me. So what about like why are you interested in me? So make sure you have at least that one paragraph that talked about the professor's previous research, right? And you can do this by going through at least one or two of his or her previous paper. Just summarize what you learned from it or what you think you can improve on it. Make sure those things are present. That would give the professor an insight that you don't only care about yourself, but you also care about what he or she is working on. Then you can then bring a paragraph that then align both of your interests. That okay, that you see that um there is an alignment in our interest, and I think you are the best fit for my this and that. I mean, I think that is the way. So when you get a feedback from the professors, some professors will not assess you, some will just go straight to admit you, while some will still want to assess you further, like mine did for like some months. I was being assessed, of course, and then when the professor finally finds interest in you, he or she will then tell you to apply to the school. Right. So when you apply to the school, then you put that professor as your super. Most application for research is they will tell you to list some professors you want to work with. I know this may differ school to school, but I think I'm just speaking from my own way, at least. Yeah. So you put the name of the professor, of course, the one you've already talked to it as the number one. I mean, and then when you get a supervisor, your admission chance will be over 95%. In fact, it will be almost difficult for them not to admit you. Yeah. So once you've secured a supervisor, what will just be left is just for the school to check that you meet the minimum admission requirements, right? Of course, for those that require GRE and English tests, make sure you meet those minimum requirements. Make sure you meet the minimum requirement of the CGPA and stuff like that. I think your admission will be secure. So the main thing is getting a supervisor. Like that is the main deal.
Okay, thank you for that. We still have another question from YouTube. So someone is asking, can you recommend some websites for solving code challenges?
Yeah, Akaran is number one I would recommend. I mean, we have Lead Code. We also have Solo Learn Challenge. I think those are the three sites I know of right now. And I think there should be many others out there. Yeah, I mean, I did a lot of Akaran and I did a lot of Solo Learn Challenges. Yeah, I think they are very good. Yeah, because most, especially for the Solo Learn, they will give you 30 seconds to answer. Okay, they will match you with someone. Okay, you can decide to challenge someone. I will give both of you 5 questions, each to answer under 30 seconds, right? So I mean, stuff like that. So if you can get to a point where you can answer coding questions in 30 seconds or within a short time, you see, the first time you will fail a lot, but as time goes on, if you can do something that short time, they will build your critical and problem solving skills. You are solving complex problems within a short time. I think yeah, those three are very good. Yeah.
Okay, thank you for that. We have a question from Zoom. Someone is asking if it's possible to share the slides.
Yeah, it's possible. So I think I would give it to Hamoye and I think they will forward it to you after now. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we have another one from Slido. Thank you so much for this session, Mr. Tosan. What are your thoughts on teaching others what you've learned? Does it help?
Like my thoughts on teaching.
Yeah, it's asking.
By teaching, do you mean like technical session, like stuff like that? I believe. Hello? Can you hear me? I don't know.
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so I think if it's technical session, I mean, unfortunately, my thought on teaching others for now, I don't think I have enough time to like teach. I mean, there was once upon a time I used to teach. Of course, I taught at UTVA for 1 year plus. So, and I also like have a lot of people that I was also helping and teaching. So, but for now, I mean, for now, my number one priority is my research and stuff like that. So maybe in terms of my thoughts, yeah, thinking maybe part of my pipeline is always part of my pipeline to give back to the community and especially to Africa. And also, I think in the future, I may consider that. But for now, my priority is my research. I don't have enough time to start teaching right now. Yeah.
Perfect. Okay. Okay, thank you for that. We have another one again from Slido. I am learning data analytics now. How can I stand out in this field without really delving into data science, modeling, and co at the moment?
Okay, yeah, I mean, it's still the same um things I've shared here basically. So even in the data analytics part you're doing without even doing the modeling, but what you're doing, make sure you are certainly good at it. And I think this will be a good time to talk about it. I see a lot of people on data analytics and people say it a lot. Like I've had CEO, my CEO saying it, I've had professors saying it, that people in the data analytics part, they tend to focus on only the data visualization, having colorful charts and you know, which is very, very good actually. But I think to stand that, make sure, okay, one of the things that is present in the crowd of data now of data analysts is having colorful charts without having the business acumen or being having the ability to draw insights from your analysis, like business driven insights, profit driven insight as a commercial. So make sure you are that one that not just only know how to produce and create fine charts, but you can give insights and recommendations, right? Like you know how to make interpretations of all of these charts and visuals, and you know how to give prescriptions, you know how to diagnose, you know you can look at a chart and tell where a problem is likely coming from, you know how to do A/B testing, right? And all of these things. So I think it's one of the ways you can stand out just to launch into the deep. Make sure you know the stats, the basic statistics of all of these stuff. I think with that you can give a lot of good recommendations and you make it to stand out from the crowd because I think what is common with the crowd of data analysts right now is just having is the overemphasis on colorful visuals and on the emphasis of insights. So I think you should emphasize insight and then you can stand out. Yeah.
Okay, thank you for that. We have one more. What is your advice for niching? Yeah. Example saying, I want to focus on data analytics and storytelling in health and healthcare field. So what is your advice?
Yeah, I think if you want to focus on that, like I think well, I don't know why you chose it, but I believe you should have some background in health, right? I think that will also make it to stand out, right? I think it's a different thing if, like, let's say a healthcare company wants to employ a data scientist, and we have two applicants right before them. Both of them have almost equal skill level as far as data science is concerned, but one of them also have a background in healthcare in addition. They would naturally want to go for that person. So I don't know why you've constrained yourself to healthcare, but if that is the case, I believe you should have a background. If you don't have a background in that, make sure you start familiarizing yourself with those stuff in the health, right, in the health industry. And then in terms of the data science technical skill, it's still the same stuff that I have spoken about here, right? Be rigorous, try to standard, then having a good profile and project to show for and stuff like that. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Looks like you've literally touched everywhere because we no more have questions from the participants. Yeah, okay. So as today's webinar comes to an end, we officially wrap it up. Big thanks to Jolomi for sharing his insights and thoughts so generously. Every second we've spent here has been super informative. To our awesome interns and everyone who joined, I am sure you've picked up some really useful tips and know-how from today's talk. Special thanks to the hardworking Hamoye team and everyone who pitched in to make this webinar a success. Have a wonderful weekend until next